Freshwater Wetlands PSA. Hello, eco-friends. Today we are talking about an important biome in desperate need of our attention with the ever-changing environment and climate of the modern day. Today, we want to focus on specifically the freshwater wetlands in the central/southern Florida area that are in grave danger. The hot, humid climate of Florida, which averages around 70 degrees, is prone to severe thunderstorms and often hurricanes as well. The frequency and intensity of the hurricanes damage not only our houses and businesses, but also the homes and habitats of our furry, scaled, and slithery friends. Flooding from storms and hurricanes presents a number of problems for freshwater wetlands. Floods can carry fertilizers into the bodies of water that cause algae growth, removing oxygen from the water and killing sea plants and creatures alike. Additionally, the flooding can also cause pollutants to penetrate the freshwater, including micro and macroplastics, as well as crude oil, which can greatly harm the animals who live in and around the bodies of water. To add, the floods can also lead to fluctuating water levels, which can completely remove organisms from their habitat.
Species native to central Florida wetlands include the Florida scrub lizard, gopher tortoise, and the American alligator. All these demonstrate the importance of reptilian adaptations for their specific habitats. These three keystone species have strong jaws, all specialized with different diets, rough scales, and protective skin to protect from the sun and dangerous predators. The large biodiversity of reptiles in the wetlands of central Florida allow for many species to withstand the natural disasters such as the all-too-common hurricanes. This, combined with their large intraspecies gene diversity, allow the species most apt to the environment to pass along their genes. Symbiotic relationships have shown a positive correlation to species survival. Examples of this occurring in central Florida wetlands include this relationship between the American alligator and the Egyptian plover. The American alligator is known for being a top predator of Florida wetlands, with little regard for smaller organisms, yet they have a soft spot for the Egyptian plover. The Egyptian plover is one of the key components to the alligator's health. The Egyptian plover will pull off the debris and food left over in the alligator's mouth, benefiting both the alligator and the plover. Another example of a symbiotic relationship includes the gopher tortoise and the Florida mouse. The gopher tortoise is named for its ability to burrow and protect themselves from the signature Florida heat. The Florida mouse will often come into the burrow with the gopher tortoise and build their own system of tunnels, assisting with ventilation and additional climate control in the burrow. This benefits both organisms by giving the Florida mouse a place to safely reside away from predators and giving the gopher tortoise a more heat-resistant home.
Freshwater biomes provide a lot of value for humans. They provide provisional services, meaning materials and energy sources, such as clean water for drinking, plumbing, agricultural use, and for renewable hydropower, as well as rivers and canals for transport, fish and other flora and fauna for use as nutrition and for medication, and as a source of valuable biofuels for energy production. Wetlands also provide regulating services that allow for purification of water, decomposition of nutrients, and carbon sequestration, which helps regulate the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, as well as helps with erosion prevention, local climate regulation, and fire breaks. Bodies of water can act as breaks to further prevent the spread of wildfires. Finally, and very importantly to the success and culture of the economy of Florida, are the cultural impacts of wetlands. The freshwater wetlands provide recreation and tourism, such as swimming and nature walks along the banks, water sports like canoeing and tubing, airboating, access to beaches and activities like fishing, and the areas also hold aesthetic value in its clean and fresh water plants in and surrounding the banks and bodies of water, and plentiful organisms to view and admire. Additionally, the wetlands allow for study of organisms and populations of a freshwater biome. Students can learn about the different animals in the habitat, how an ecosystem works together to coexist, as well as about the processes of water purification, harvesting of materials, and transport of goods via waterways. And to add, water is an essential aspect of many religions and cultures. Water is essential to many spiritual practices. It allows people to live, work, and rest. Freshwaters help influence diversity, artistic practices, folk tales, and contributes to a local identity, which helps to emphasize the preservation of the heritage value of cultural freshwater landscapes. Humans have had a great and detrimental impact on the freshwater wetlands of Florida. Humans contribute to temperature increase, invasive species, water pollution, deforestation, and urban development. The increasing temperatures due to the burning of fossil fuels and increased concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere from electricity, cars, and other technological inventions has led to an increase of hurricanes across Florida and the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. These hurricanes cause detrimental flooding, runoff, pollution, and displacement of animals from their habitats. The pollution of water from runoff causes algae growth, which removes oxygen from the water, and the trash pollution causes animals to choke or have plastics clog their intestines. Additionally, oil can get into the animal's eyes, lungs, and fur or skin. Another large impact of humans on Florida's freshwater wetlands comes from the draining of bodies of water for building and development of the land for human use. The development of agriculture also harms the environment by producing runoff of fertilizers and pesticides, which causes harmful algae growth in bodies of water, which harms the other organisms. Though canals and streams are created to protect the animals, they are forced to move from their natural habitats, and the intense amount of these canals, or fish superhighways, leads to an equal chance for native and non-native species to survive, allowing invasive species such as the Burmese python, green iguana, and more recently discovered the arapaima, a river monster that can grow up to 10 feet long and devour fish populations, to survive. The invasive species are also outcompeting local fauna and taking over.
Freshwater wetlands are a very important biome that serve many different purposes. They need to be protected, and there are many different examples of current legislation that helps protect it. One great example is the fact that farmers are draining freshwater wetlands to make room for their crops. This is obviously very damaging to this biome, as the amount of land it takes up is drastically reduced, along with the habitats for many different organisms. The Swamp Buster Act helps protect freshwater wetlands by punishing farmers who are found to do this, thus discouraging others from doing the same. This act helps protect a very important thing that freshwater wetlands provide, and that is clean water. Wetlands filter pollutants from upstream waters, leaving the water downstream safer to drink and a very important reservoir when times get tough. The Clean Water Act protects freshwater wetlands, thus preserving this important biome and the water that it holds. Furthermore, birds rely on freshwater wetlands for food, habitats, and more. So it is important that we establish areas of wetlands to keep them safe. This map of New York shows different areas where the birds are protected or where wetlands are very important. This just proves how important these policies are, given that the fact that New York is a very big state and there are not a lot of protected areas. There are many different things that can be done personally to help protect freshwater wetlands, including donating even $10 to charitable organizations such as these ones that create impactful change that help protect freshwater wetlands. You can also plant native plants in your backyard garden or anywhere in your local community. This helps encourage native organisms and animals to come live in these plants, thus protecting the native and local ecosystem. You can also make small switches in your life to more eco-friendly products. Instead of plastic straws, you can use reusable straws, You can use wooden utensils, reusable shopping bags, and in today's COVID world, you can use reusable, washable face masks instead of the single-use ones. As a society, we can do even more. An important way to help the freshwater wetlands is to protest when they are in danger, participate in local cleanups, and email government officials so that they can make the change in the government. We can also speak out against greenwashing, which is a very unethical practice where companies are misleading and lying to their customers by claiming that their products are sustainable when they in fact are not. And a lot of people in society say that they would buy environmentally sustainable products if they were offered, so companies have a large incentive to do so. And as I mentioned before, the government is an amazingly effective way to protect this really important biome. Local, state, and federal governments need to pass regulations and protection acts, such as this one right here in Massachusetts, to preserve and improve the freshwater wetlands. These acts and policies help provide strict rules for what goes on in the wetlands and ensures that they are constantly protected. It's very effective and important. But without the judicial system, the acts would mean nothing. The judicial system then needs to actually uphold these acts in a court of law and punish those who violate them. Because without upholding these acts and punishing violators, the acts would mean nothing, and the freshwater wetlands would not be saved.